Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Brandon back here with another video for you guys today. Thank you so much for clicking on the video and watching. It means so much to me that you guys want to do that. And today we're going to be talking about a pretty interesting topic. It's going to be mainly targeted towards the beginner investor, somebody that's new to the stock market. But we're going to be talking about how to invest your first $1,000 into the market. And so before I get into the meat of the video, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I post videos Monday through Friday with usually a video on Sunday if I have the time. So if you're interested in that, make sure to hit that button. It only takes like a second and it helps the channel out so much. And I covered whether it's the stock market, big political news, I pretty much cover it all. So if you're interested in that, please hit that button. But let's go ahead and get into this video. And now the first thing I'm going to be talking about with this is the way you want to invest your $1,000 if you're starting out is going to very much depend on your preference that you're going to have regarding stocks and how you want to invest. And what I mean by this is, are you wanting to put your stocks in somewhere, just put your money in it and not pay attention to it and just let it grow over time without really managing it at all, as opposed to looking up companies, something you really like, maybe doing some research with it, and then picking individual stocks. And so I'm gonna kind of basically go over index fund investing, which is just putting your money away in a solid ETF and just letting it grow over time, or picking individual companies and stocks and letting it go from there. So I'll kind of get into a little bit more detail about it and what might be best for you. So first, we're going to be talking about index funds and if it's meant for you, and if you want to continue down this path, what's the best source of success. So the number one biggest perk of index funds, especially huge ones, I'll get into specific ones in a bit, but is you don't really have to pay attention to them at all. Just drop your money in and forget about it. So they are the most low maintenance ones that you could go for. It's really peace of mind. Over time, they average about 8% a year, generally speaking, depending on what kind of ETF you get. And it's just very easy. If they have a dividend, then you can just have DRIP, where it reinvests the dividend that you receive from it. So that way, over the span of, say, you hold it for 20 years, you have 20 years of dividends reinvested plus whatever you continually invest in. And if you didn't know, index fund investing over 20, 30 years is the most consistent and proven way to become a millionaire. So if you have a career and you want to just have something invested on the side to help with your retirement, 100% index fund is the way to go. It'll be your most surefire way to become a millionaire. So hopefully that helps some with that index funds. And now I'll give you guys 3 examples of an index fund that you could look into that maybe you might like. So the first one, I'm just going to keep it very simple and basic, is SPY or SPY. And this one just basically tracks the S&P 500, and you do get a small dividend yield from it. And it is a very slow, steady mover. This one, last year, it's gone up, I think 16 or 17% year to date now, or from 2020. So there's definitely consistent growth in there, especially as long as you keep reinvesting and just continually building up your position. It is definitely a solid one to get into. And now this next one I'm going to be mentioning, it's not as popular, but it's more of a dividend ETF, so you're going to get a little bit bigger of a dividend, but it's Vanguard's High Dividend Yielder, and the ticker symbol is VTM. And I can't remember off the top of my head what the dividend yield was. I want to say it was around 2.5%. I'll have to double check that. But this one is just going to be if you want a little bit more money coming back to you more consistently. So that's just, dividends are always nice to have, and if you're more of a person that wants more of a dividend, this will definitely be the index fund for you. And now the last ETF I'm going to be talking about before I move on is ARK. The ticker symbol is ARKK. And this one really goes after high growth companies. It has really became hugely popular these last few months, as I believe this year's ran up almost like 100% this last year. So it is definitely an investor's favorite right now. Everybody wants to pile into it. Just be careful with any investment you do. But this one since it is an ETF and is diversified, it is definitely a lot safer than if you would invest in an individual stock. But that one probably has your biggest potential of a huge upside. So those are 3 ETFs. You can look into them, but let's move on to the next one. Now, if you're not interested in index fund investing, you want to go after more individual stocks, this is going to be the part of the video for you. And now, when you're investing in individual stocks, there's basically 2 categories that you need to consider. One is dividend investing, and 2 is growth investing. And I believe personally it is depending on your age. The younger you are, the more growth you should have in your portfolio, and vice versa. So the older you are, the more dividends you should have, because it's a lot more safe and consistent as opposed to speculative growth stocks. So the first thing I'm going to be covering is more dividend stocks. Dividend stocks are pretty safe and consistent. And the very important thing to know with consistent dividend stocks is that you don't want something that yields you a high amount, because the higher that you're getting back in your dividend, the more risky the investment is. So the highest you really ever want to have a dividend company is, or dividend stock I should say, is around 7%, and that is pushing it. Really, the 3 to 5% range is a lot more safe and more comfortable, but if you want to get a little bit edgy, you can go all the way up to that 7%. I believe AT&T yields around 7% if you are just looking to get some dividends back. But I do have 3 good companies for dividends that you could look into if you would like. Now, the first one is hugely popular, ticker symbol KO. For those of you that don't know what that is, that's Coca-Cola. And I believe right now they pay just over a 3% dividend. So if you invested that full $1,000 into there, you're going to be getting back $30 a year. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but if you keep continually investing, say $1,000 a year over a 20-year time span, with those dividends reinvested into Coke, you're definitely going to have a pretty good lump sum of money. And dividends won't offer you insane growth, but they'll definitely offer compounding interest, which is an amazing thing over a large amount of time. Now, the next company I'm going to be talking about is Johnson & Johnson. Their ticker symbol is J&J. They are a very, very consistent company. They usually tend to do well in recessions and pullbacks just because they really offer some essential products and they don't really fall too hard. So they're fairly recession proof if that's something you want to add to your portfolio to kind of diversify it or make it more recession proof. And they offer a solid dividend. I believe it's around 2% currently. And there's not much bad to say about Johnson & Johnson, to be honest. It's just a very good company. And now the next one I'm going to be talking about is actually really nice because this is a monthly paying dividend company. And it's a little bit higher currently. I think it's around 4% at the moment, but it is just ticker symbol O. It's Realty Income. They are a REIT, so it's a real estate company, and you get a portion of their profits, and it gets paid out to you every month. And if you're just looking for something to, every single month you need just a little bit money for, say, you want to build it up for rent, you want to pay your mortgage eventually down the line, whatever the case is, they are monthly paying, so that's really nice, and it can really build up quicker with your dividend reinvestment. So those are some dividends. Now let's get into some growth companies. Now, for those of you that don't know, not all stocks offer dividends. The main thing that growth companies offer is just growth. It's plain and simple. So, for example, you want a stock, you buy in at 100, this growth stock hopefully has the potential to double or triple or even more than that over the lifespan that you own the stock. And so they are a little bit more risky compared to dividends, but if you do your right due diligence and you pick the right companies, they can make you a lot more money way faster than dividends or index fund investing can do. So this is going to be if you want to be a little bit more aggressive and you really want to take the bull by the horns and see what you can do in the market. Now, these can offer some crazy gains, like I said, so I'll just offer 3 examples. I'll do a pretty speculative one, a one in the middle, and one fairly safe growth company. The first one is the speculative one I'm going to be talking about. The ticker symbol is DKNG. That is DraftKings. And for those of you that don't know what DraftKings is, it's a sports gambling company. And this one is, last time I checked, it was around $49, so I'll give or take a few dollars on it. And this one I feel as though has a great potential in the future, as sports gambling is not legalized across the country. So I feel like in the coming years, I only see upside for this company and this space in general. So if you wanted to go for a Penn National Gaming, PENN I believe is the ticker symbol, you could also go after that one. That one might have solid growth in the future. But this one, DKNG, just listed this last year, and I really, really do like the company. I think it's going to have great upside potential, and it's something that could maybe blow up in the future, who knows. And now the second one I'm going to have is in the middle between speculative a little bit and safe, and this is AbbVie. The ticker symbol is ABBV. And this one has solid growth with it, and it has a fairly good dividend with it. Now this one you don't see a lot, but this one is a great stock to have if you want to have some growth in your portfolio and a dividend. It's honestly the best of both worlds. They do plastic surgery. They have different medicines under their company's umbrella. They are a branch off of another company, so that's what makes them a little bit more speculative. It is a fairly safe company still at the end of the day, and you get a pretty solid dividend coming with it. So it's really hard to beat that company, to be honest. And now the last growth company I'm going to talk about, this one is definitely the most safe one, and it's AAPL, or Apple. Everybody knows what Apple is. Everybody knows Apple is a huge tank. They are not going anywhere for the foreseeable future, and their stock is probably only going to be going up. Right now, they're around $130, and everybody's saying within the next 5 or so years, they're probably going to double in stock price again. So, and they pay a very small dividend, but they do have a dividend. Now, Apple is, I said, not going anywhere, and it has been outpacing all the indexes almost, it seems like forever. And I think it's a very good, valuable company to have in your portfolio to give you some growth potential, but not going too crazy speculative. So those are the 3 growth stocks I wanted to talk about in this video. Again, do your own due diligence, and definitely don't listen to me. I'm not a recommendation at all. Anything you do that I recommend, you're probably going to lose some money on, so keep that in mind, please. But now, if you're really wondering, well, great, you told me all these companies I should do. I still don't know exactly what allocation I should do. So I won't recommend an exact company, but I'll tell you kind of an outline that I would do with $1,000. Now, if you're older, I would definitely maybe skew this a little bit more. But for me, what I'm looking at personally is I want to do 70% of my allocation into growth companies. And so the other 30% I'm going to be putting in dividends. Now this works if you're an index investor or if you're an individual stock investor. For example, if you're the growth company, I would probably put 50% in like ARK, the ETF, and then 20% in SPY, and then the last 30% into the VTM, the high dividend yielder, just so that way I have different diversity in different locations. And it's still all ETFs, so you're very well diversified, and you're getting a dividend and some growth in there. Now with individual stocks, keeping that 70-30 model, I would definitely probably be putting around 25% into DraftKings, 25% into AbbVie, and then 20% into Apple. And then the dividend companies, I'd put 10% to O, 10% to J&J, and then 10% to Coke. And that would get you a pretty well-rounded portfolio to get you going with that $1,000. But I hoped all this information really helped you out in starting your portfolio. I know it's kind of a daunting task. Getting into the stock market, it's a huge feat. So just making it here is a huge accomplishment. So that's awesome for you guys. But if you enjoyed the content, drop down a comment below about what company you're looking into investing for the first time. And if any of you guys have any video suggestions you want me to cover in the future, make sure to drop that below. I'll look at all of them, see what I can do for you guys. Hopefully I helped you guys out a little bit at beginning to invest. But don't forget to subscribe. I post videos Monday through Friday. with an occasional Sunday video. So if you like the content today, make sure to hit that sub button. But with all that out of the way, thank you guys for watching and have a great day.